Merry Christmas! It's not actually Christmas, but I'm drinking gingerbread cookie dough tea? That would be really disturbing if they put the dough actually in it. I don't know, but it tastes like gingerbread and it's really, really good. And it's kind of making me feel like Christmas time. And with Christmas time fastly approaching also comes the end of the year, which I feel like has come really, really soon. I feel like just yesterday it was January and now it's the middle of November, and that is crazy for me. It has been a really, really good year on here. It's the first consistent year that I've pretty much uploaded all the time, although there's some times in which I've been a little bit more gapish than others. But I'm really excited that I now get to celebrate the end of the year, which I didn't last year because of my mental health. I just took time off from September until January. So I hope that your year is less stressful and very productive and lovely, and you have wonderful times with fictional people and real people as we approach the end of the year. This is the end of the year tag. It is one which I found on Peru's project, which is Regan's channel, and she said the original was Ariel Bassett, so I'm going to take her word for it. And I really liked it. So we have books you have started but not finished yet. If you're not in country Africa, this is a delightful book that I started for the POC-a-thon in August. It is actually really wonderful, and I think I talked about it a few times. I've written extensively in it. You can't even tell in that, in the lighting. Pretty much half of this book is covered in black pen, and it was really impactful for me. However, I haven't read a lot of it since I went back to school because it's a lot more thinking, and working, doing my practicum, and doing school is not productive to wanting to read deep, mind-boggling books that make you question everything in your life. It's not quite that intense, but it is a really powerful book that makes me think a lot. So I'm really excited to sit down. I will probably sit down after I finish my final assignments and just read it and love it, because then I can actually enjoy learning once again. I have World War I poetry. It is really touching. I read through over half of these poems. I probably only have about 50 pages to go through. Really powerful poetry of World War I. It is something that matters a lot to me. World War I is one of my favorite times in history, and to talk about it is really powerful. So to read these poems, just tears all the time. And then we have another random burst of a book. There was one time in July which I decided just to pick up a John Green book and read it, and that was Looking for Alaska. It is about this guy who's really skinny, so he's called Pudge, in order to make fun of the fact that he's skinny, and it's not autobiographical. However, it is based on some of the experiences that John Green had in a boarding school in Georgia. Is that Georgia? I think it's Georgia. And this guy reads a lot of famous last lines, and it's Girl Alaska, and it's being made into a TV show soon. So I'm excited to read it. I'm not a huge contemporary fan. I did see that I was going to read the rest of John Green's books this year. Yeah. This year I will try to read this book. And of Avonlea, this is a really great book that I really enjoyed. My first time reading it about 10 years ago. It is really powerful. It can be slow in some places, but I am really enjoying her book. This is following her years as a teacher, and she is still very young. She's only about 16 in this book, so a lot of her growing up is still developing, but she's put in the role of an adult. It is a retelling of Catwoman by Sarah J. Maas. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Sarah J. Maas's writing. I don't think that it's super well developed, but I am liking it better than the one other book I read by her, which was Throne of Glass, which I give a pass to because she originally wrote it when she was 16. And as much as I have been writing books forever, my books when I was 16 were not nearly as well crafted as a professional writer should be. Do you have an autumn book that you want to carry over? So this might be like a perpetually weird thing. I don't read seasonally. It's like a really big thing on BookTube to read seasonally. I am not that way. Like, I don't associate books with fall and spring and winter and summer. No, I just read. I read fantasy in the middle of the summer. I read fantasy in the winter. I read mysteries in spring and fall and the whatever. I'm just like, I actually read a lot of like high fantasy this summer. Most people I think associate that with like winter and like contemporary with summer. I don't know why, I don't get it. A sequel that hasn't come out yet, so I'm cheating because it just came out. But Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. I loved Renegade, and I do really want to read this. It is again a book that I probably won't pick up until 2019, unless I can get a copy of it simply because my budget cannot afford to pay $25 on a book. That is a lot. So hopefully my library will get a copy of it that I can read. If so, it will definitely be part of the next Eddie books that might shake you and become one of your new favorite. I've been trying to narrow down my favorite books in 2018, which is hard because I feel like most people haven't read 170 books. It's a lot to be like, oh, what are my top 10? If I finish Fellowship of the Ring, that might also come into there because I know that those books are really well crafted. 3 books you want to read before the end of the year. I just did top 5 Wednesday that I talked about the 5 books I wanted to read before the end of the year, but probably highest on that list would be Lord of the Rings, Stardust, and Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, which are about a mystery, wacky mythology, Neil Gaiman style, and a classic mythology. My reading goals are roughly probably going to be the same. There's going to be more exploration into science fiction probably, because for some reason I thought I didn't really like science fiction until this year, which like I knew I liked like light science fiction, but I got to read a couple more deep science fiction and I really liked them. So that, I'm going to definitely read more mysteries and more Agatha Christie mysteries. Those were fantastic. They blew me out of the water. Why hadn't I read them before? And then I'm probably going to lower my reading count to 150. I read 200 this year, and that was a little bit pushing it, and I wasn't working for the summer because of my heart, so I'm probably going to push that down. Anyways, I always forget to remember to tag people, but off the top of my head, I'm going to be tagging Kara from The Wild Garden. If you want to do this and you're not Kara, feel free to do it as well. Happy reading and writing, and have a grand day, and tell me what book you desperately want to read before the end of the year. Okay, bye.